Oh, Gigi, you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You hear me okay?
I can hear you. I can hear you perfectly
Yes,
fine.
gotcha.
You can hear me?
Cool. Okay. Yes,
Okay.
yes, you're good. We're good. All right, I see you. I see you. All right, we about to go live, so we're live. But I'm gonna introduce the show, and then we'll go right into it.
Okay.
All right, ready?
No.
All right, here we go. I'm Taylor Brown, and this is How I Did It, the show where we talk with champions about how they achieve their dreams. On today's show, we're talking with Chinaemerenwa. Chinaemerenwa is a registered nurse, got her BSN, HTCP. You're gonna explain that to me. And we go way back since Bishop McNamara High School, and now you're doing great job at Baylor University pursuing your doctors. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I feel so honored. I mean, from the moment you asked me to be on the show, I feel so honored that you even thought about me.
No,
I just want to say before we dive in, shout out to the Village Doctors. Go follow the Village Doctors. They're doing great work. They're just getting started, but they're doing great work. They're an Instagram page, like a team page to document their journey to getting their doctors. One is the DMP, the other one's MD, and then the other one is anesthesiologist. So everybody should go follow them and get all that insight that they have to give.
cool, cool. All right, I
Yeah.
like it. Starting out with a shout out. Dope. So first question I have for you, I know we've been talking recently, but how are you doing during this time, during this pandemic? Hopefully we're coming out of it pretty soon, but how are you doing?
Um, it's so funny because you're right. We were talking about this recently. I have always said that I'm doing fine. I believe that I am doing better than a lot of people during this pandemic. But I will say that there have been a lot of challenging times that I didn't realize how challenging they were until after the fact, right? I'm blessed and fortunate enough to have family, friends that always check up on me. And I'm talking about since the beginning of everything that was going on with coronavirus. Always checking up on me, seeing how I am, because for those of you that don't know, I am a COVID nurse. I have not had coronavirus. So a lot of people ask that. No, I have not had it. I've not had it. But definitely working on the front lines of this whole pandemic. So I've been fortunate enough to have a team of good friends and family that have always checked up on me and always support me. And that's been invaluable, completely invaluable during this time.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So why nursing school? When did you know this is what you wanted to do? Is this your purpose? Do you feel like this is your calling?
Yeah. I feel like my answer is going to be really cliche, but I always knew that I wanted to help people. And
Yeah.
I always say that I want to be able to tell the difference in a stomach ache, right? You can have a stomach ache, but is it aching because you're constipated or is it aching because of appendicitis? Two completely different things there, right? But similar looking symptoms. So I going to school was the obvious choice in fulfilling that desire to help people. Um, thank God I went to nursing school, right? Life didn't take me directly to nursing school, but I ended up in nursing school. And it's been an awesome journey. Like, nursing is so cool. Like, I don't know if people really know how cool nursing is. You're really there with the patients, one-on-one with the patients. It's an art and science, right? It's the art of giving care and the science of giving care. Like, I love nursing. This is not the podcast to talk about how much I love nursing, but if anybody
No.
wants to talk to me about nursing,
Yeah.
we can talk about that. But yeah, so that's why I went into nursing, because I love to help people, and nursing is the perfect avenue to do that. The perfect avenue to do that.
Cool. Cool. So millions or thousands of people, have passed away from COVID, unfortunately. And like you said, you're working, you're front line. You've seen it personally. You've seen people isolate their families, their friends, and just talk to me about that experience. And you just happen to be that person to keep people's spirits up. You can just talk to me about that.
Yeah. So, Tay, that's an awesome question. I don't know if you got that after our discussion the other day, but that's a really good question because I don't know how many people take time to consider that. I told you the last time when we had our discussion about the show, The Good Doctor, and how they've done an amazing, amazing job of capturing that experience of working on the front line during the coronavirus. Um, there are times where you come into work knowing that you have a patient that is probably not going to make it, and their family can't come to see them. You are the only person, you, the nurse, are the only person who is in contact with this person. As the as the pandemic progressed, rules and regulations throughout the hospital progressed also. So I'm going to tell you my experience based on the hospital where I worked. and with the people that I worked with. Okay, this is my own experience. I don't know about anybody else throughout the country. So I worked in a hospital in Virginia, and initially when coronavirus first started, there were only the only people that can go into the rooms were nurses, right? So you didn't have any patient care techs, no environmental services. The doctors didn't go into the rooms. None of that. It was just the nurse. The nurse was everything. The nurse was the patient care tech. The nurse was the person to clean the room. The nurse was everything for that patient. As the pandemic progressed and more information came out, we learned that, more people, you still want to limit your exposure. That was another thing, right? You can't be in the room for too long, right? Because you want to limit your exposure. So you still want to limit your exposure, but once you are dressed appropriately, that's when we had the whole discussion about appropriate PPE, right? Once you're dressed appropriately, then you can go into the room. So then that's when we had more patient care techs and the environmental team and everybody else, being able to interact with the patients. That seems like such a small difference, such a small change. But Tay, I told you this when we had our discussion, and I'll say it again for the purpose of this discussion here. Imagine being the patient and you're told you have coronavirus. And when you look on the news, all you hear on the news is death and disaster with coronavirus, right? You can't talk to your family unless it's over the phone. They can't come and see you. Every time someone does come to see you, they're dressed head to toe in stuff that makes them look like they're from outer space, right? Like the only thing you can see are our eyes, because we have a mask. Depending on when it happened, we had either one mask or two masks. We have our face shield. Our hair is covered. You can't see any of our hair. We don't have any earrings, nothing. We have our PPE covering everything, front to back PPE. And our shoes aren't covered. But initially, if they were offering shoe covers, we were covering our shoes because we didn't want to take, any virus from one person to another, right? You want to be as cautious as possible, especially with this. So the only people that come to see you are dressed head to toe. You can only see their eyeballs. And when they talk to you, they sound like this. Hey, we're here to see you. And you can't even hear what they're saying. It is the most, from the outside looking in, it seems to be one of the most lonely experiences, lonely and frightening experiences that somebody can go through. And to top it all off, Tay, they can't breathe. They're struggling to breathe. They're coughing all the time. If there's no pain in their throat, then there's generalized pain throughout their body. It is so tough to look at someone go through something like that and then know that you are the person that is supposed to be their relief, source of help, whatever the case may be. I will say, and I told you this before, that I had the fortune of working with an awesome team at my hospital. It was not easy by any means. It was not easy at all. But I worked with some awesome nurses, some awesome patient care techs, some awesome environmental service teams. Tay, the people on the environmental service team would make like trinkets for the patients. And then when they would go in to clean their room, it was like the one that I'm thinking of specifically is like this little rock, and it had like words of encouragement on there that the environmental service worker painted herself. Either she painted it or her niece painted it, something, but she was the one that took it, when she goes to clean the room, she leaves it there for the patient. And I thought that was so awesome. Like, it seems like such a small gesture, but it makes all the difference. When when this pandemic started, our unit had a patient experience experiment that we were running, and I happened to be on the team that was pushing this kind of change. We just presented our research on this patient experience intervention that we put into practice the year before. And what we were able to do was take that same kind of change that we brought to the unit and then transfer it over to what was happening at that current moment, right? So the intervention that we came up with was just spending more time with the patient, but it would have to look different, right? Because we want to cut down our exposure to the patient, which means when you go in to talk with the patient, give the meds, make sure they're doing okay, whatever it is that you're going in to do, those moments count the most, right? If you're a patient, your nurse is coming in, all right, here's this medication I have for you, and blah, blah, blah. Like, that's so dry. Like, you don't want somebody to come in dry and then leave and you're just by yourself watching CNN. Like, that's so dry. So when you come in to greet the patient or take care of the patient, whatever it is that you have to do, you have a positive demeanor, you're cracking jokes. They can only hear half the jokes because you're talking through a mask, but you have you're very personable with the patient. So it's like little things like that made all the difference. And they will tell you after you finish, like, thank you for coming in, or, that was so funny. And sometimes they'll want to keep you in longer, especially like the older patients, because they don't have anyone to talk to. But it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. And I just know that based on what I've been told, right? Just on, and shout out to the doctors that we worked with. I mean, they were so awesome. They were so awesome. I would read stories about doctors that wouldn't even go into the patient's room and delegate 100% of the interaction with the patient to the nurse. It's heartbreaking, Tay. It's so heartbreaking because it's heartbreaking for so many reasons. But we had the fortune of working with an awesome team of doctors who would do what they had to do, gown up. Everybody had their masks and everything, and would go in and talk to the patients. And they too brought light to the patients. They too brought a personable affect to the patients. They helped to build that rapport with the patients. It makes all the difference. It makes all the difference. Sorry, I went on a tangent.
No, that was great. That was great. I'm picturing everything you said. So thank you for breaking that down. What was your biggest lesson from the pandemic?
That's a good question. Well, the pandemic is not over. So,
well, right.
To make sure everybody knows, the pandemic is definitely still going on. My biggest lesson. Oh, wow. I think my biggest lesson would be the importance of the work that we do. The importance of being there, genuinely being there for your patients. It's not fun being sick. No one ever wants to be sick. And your interactions with your patients, I mean, no matter how small or how, big, it all makes a difference.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
That's real. Thank you for sharing that. I feel that. So I know we talked about this, and I want to go a little more detail about it. You're Nigerian, talk to me about the Nigerian culture. From other Nigerians I met, it's just this, being great, successful mentality. You guys you get it done. You work hard and just talk. I know we talked about it, so just elaborate a little more.
Elaborate on it. I mean, what can I say? Nigeria de carry last, okay? If you're Nigerian, you're number one. I think it's just a mentality that is inbred in us. right? It's a mentality and a work ethic that we got from our parents, who got it from their parents, who got, and it's not just our parents saying to us to do these things. It's we've seen them do it, right? Again, I'm just going to speak for my own experience. Both of my parents came to this country for a better life. There is no way that I could have done what they did. Hey, I moved within the United States from one state to another, and I'm complaining. Like, there's honestly, think about it. There's no language barrier moving from state to state. I mean, the food is the same, basically, moving from state to state. The culture is almost the same. Right. Our parents, me and my siblings and my fellow Nigerians, our parents came from a Nigerian culture to an American culture, which we have seen recently what that means, right? I would be like, okay, send me back home, because it's not easy. I mean, all jokes aside, it's not easy. So imagine having to do that and then working your way through school, working your way through your profession. But the whole time in the back of your mind is, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this, because I want to be great. I'm doing this, whatever that motivation is for them. That's what's in the back of their mind, and they don't lose sight of it. Excuse me. We don't lose sight of it, so it's really inbred in us. I mean, I know we went into more detail when you and I had our conversation, and like you said last time, that's a whole nother video discussion, and definitely a lot deeper to go there. But yeah, I mean, you look in any, I'm going to sound so Nigerian right now, but look in any category of anything that's happening. If you want to talk about law, if you want to talk about medicine, if you want to talk about art, if you want to talk about cooking, give me any topic. There's a Nigerian in there. And not only are they within that realm, they're at the top of the game. You know why? Because we can't help it. Okay? We can't help it. And let me not minimize it to just Nigerians, Africans in general. But I mean, Nigerians, we move way differently, man. Like, we move so differently.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. It's in our blood, Tay. It's in our blood.
I hear you. I'm talking to you. You're telling me all the great things you're doing. So I hear you. So let's go back a little bit. Talk about the McNamara Pride, just like, all of us, especially our class, even the classes before us, are just doing their thing. Like,
shout out to my basketball team.
Right. Hey, let's just go way back to tryouts. Yo, okay. So, tell me about your basketball experience at McNamara.
My basketball experience at McNamara?
Yeah.
Honestly, Tay, my basketball experience at McNamara was amazing. Okay. And I was only there for a short time. So it just makes sense to me that everybody that was there for the actual full length of the season or longer, I mean, reached the levels that they reached. You being a major example. I want to take this moment to give you a huge shout out, a huge congratulations for all the positive changes that are happening in your life. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And I just hope that you continue to pray and keep God first and listen to your heart, just as you've been doing. and you will continue to do great things, girl. Have you done your ancestry DNA?
You know, my mom has. My mom's done it.
You might be a little Nigerian, just judging off your
I,
success.
I'm Jamaican. I am Jamaican. What's wrong with Jamaican? That's where I get my work ethic from, because I'm always working. Like I work, 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 work. That's the Jamaican in me,
Imagine if you were Nigerian. It would just be woo.
But that'd be a whole nother level. I need to check that out. Maybe I am. I need to check that out. Check that out a little more. Ask my mom. Oh man, that's funny. All right, so let's talk about your 5-year plan. You're at Baylor University. Know you're studying, get your doctorate. So, yeah, what's next for you? What are you doing?
Good question. That's a really good question. So my ultimate plan, not goal, plan, is to open a hospital back home in Nigeria, with the primary goal of providing care that over here we deem easily accessible. I'm very aware of the fact that, there are many parts in America that don't have, good access to care. But when it comes to things like simple things, flu shots, daily vitamins, the little things, right? Making sure that my people have access to those same things. That's my ultimate plan, right? I would love to complete it in 5 years, but that is my ultimate plan. Right now, I am in school to get my doctorate. So you guys can call me Dr. Chi or Dr. Uzowihe. I answer to doctor, period. But but that's what I'm working on right now. And I'll be done in a couple of years with that degree. And then after that, get started in that realm of nursing and seeing where that degree will take me. This year, I've been exposed to nursing policy, which is, a mammoth of a topic when it comes to nursing. We're talking about full practice authority, which focuses on the fact that nurse practitioners have the capability to take care of, provide primary care to a large group of people, right? They can go into a community and be the nurse practitioner for that community when they're practicing to their full extent of their practice. But policy that exists right now is preventing that from happening. There are a lot of states that nurses have to practice under a medical doctor or under, I think it's just a medical doctor, but under someone else. They can't practice to the full extent of their degree, which doesn't make sense, right? That's like you getting you in basketball, because I know everything about basketball, you being a player on the team. And you know how to play all 5 positions, but the coach is like, oh, just play 2 of the positions ever. Like, I don't even want you to exercise the other 3, skills that the skills in the other 3 areas that you have. Just focus on these 2 and never, ever touch, the other 3. That was a horrible analogy, but the point is that, nurse practitioners have the capability to take full care of these groups of people, but policy is preventing them from doing that. It doesn't make any sense to me because after the Affordable Care Act, all of these people have access to healthcare now, but no one to provide them the care that they need. So why not grant nurse practitioners full practice authority so that they can practice to the full extent of their license and provide care to these communities of people that need care, right? It's to me, it seems like a simple equation. But what I'm learning in my policy class is there are a lot of roadblocks that people, we're not going to say who, are putting in place, right? So in any event, I don't know. That may be what I go into, right, immediately after my degree. I'm not sure. Or I can just go and start my own practice in one of these communities of need, but it will all be to make sure that I have the proper knowledge and resources to be able to go back home and open my hospital.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's a great goal. That's a great goal. I'm excited for you. So now we're down to our last three questions. All right. So,
How many questions?
first question, last three.
Oh dear. Okay.
Three. So sorry, there's like a delay. I think it's my Wi-Fi.
It's okay.
But yeah. First question. What inspires you?
Every day?
What inspires you in general? Or to do what you do,
Loaded question. I'm inspired by my patients. I'm inspired by my family. I'm inspired by my friends being amazing and awesome people. I'm inspired by seeing other people, make change and do things. I mean, I watched Judas and the Black Messiah yesterday. I'm inspired by that movie. I'm inspired to be great by watching Janelle Monáe and Annabellum. I'm just inspired by everything around me. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel that. What's your pet peeve?
My pet peeve is when people come around with bad energy. I don't like people to be around me with bad energy because it's infectious.
I feel that. Third question, guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure? Food. I love food. It's so unhealthy for me to have this guilty pleasure, but it's true. I love me some good food.
I mean, we need food to survive, so it's not a bad thing.
Yes.
All right, Chi, Chinaemerenwa. I got it right. I feel accomplished with that. Those are all the questions I have for you today. Will you be back? We'll do another one.
Yes, if you'll have me. I'm shocked that you wanted me to do this one. You want me to come back? Of course. I will come back whenever you want me to. Whenever you want me to.
All right, cool. I appreciate your time. Thank you again for coming on the show. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Spacey Cloud and The Loop, and Rigo Productions for sponsoring this podcast. So thanks again, Chi. We'll talk, and I'll see you this footage.
All right. Bye.